Hey guys, Roger here. Okay, just in time for Christmas. It's the last video of the year for me. And today I have the POCO M4 Pro 5G. Mustn't forget the 5G bit. This is another nice budget smartphone from POCO, and it has some very slight upgrades over the M3 Pro 5G. I think that's right. Now this was sent to me by POCO, so a big thanks to those guys. But it's been sent to me obviously in return for my thoughts and, in return for my own opinion. And so of course, that's what you're gonna get. So it's still a budget phone, and there aren't any crazy upgrades over the M3 Pro 5G really, but it's always nice when smartphone manufacturers improve their hardware, especially with these more budget smartphones. I think ultimately what that really means is you're just going to end up getting more for your money, which is a good thing. The first thing I'll say about the M4 Pro 5G anyway is that it has a very similar kind of style or design that we're used to seeing in some of the other POCO and Xiaomi handsets. I think the camera module on the back, well, in my opinion anyway, it looks good. It has a bit more of a premium look. The cameras could be better, but that's something we'll talk about in a moment. The back is plastic, but it's a budget smartphone and it looks good. So personally, I like it. The display is 6.6 inches, and there isn't really much you can say that's negative when it comes to the display. It's pretty bright, colors look really nice. At 6.6 inches, well, it's big, and I like that. I do like a nice big display, so this does the trick for me. It's an IPS LCD display, Full HD+, and you can choose a refresh rate of 60Hz or 90Hz. It doesn't do that automatically, so that is something that you have to manually do. Considering that this is a budget smartphone though, the display is definitely very nice. No complaints from me. So you've got Android 11, which is quite good as it is, but then on top of that, of course, you have MIUI, and it's running MIUI 12.5. So you've got some good stuff here, like notifications when you swipe down from the top left, of course, and the control center style menu when you swipe down from the top right. Now, something I like about that is the ability to control your Google smart home devices right there from the control center. That's quite cool. Something I'm not a fan of are the millions of unnecessary apps when you first set the phone up. That's just a small frustration, but to be honest with you, there's loads of good stuff here. So you've got a fingerprint scanner built into the power button. Again, we've obviously seen that in the past, and the truth is, it works well every time, so no complaints with that. You do have other options such as face unlock, but the fingerprint scanner, that's what I use, and it works well, so pretty happy with that. Performance has been pretty good, so you get 128 gig of storage, UFS 2.2. You can add an SD card as well, and then powering the POCO M4 Pro 5G is the MediaTek Dimensity 810 chip, and you've also got 6 gig of RAM, and everything is nice and smooth. Games have played quite well too. Sadly, Fortnite isn't supported. That's one of the main things I play all the time, but you can see here that on a smartphone that costs, just a little bit over £200 in the UK, there are some good games that you can play, and the performance really isn't bad at all. Some of you guys already know that I don't like using on-screen controls, so instead I use a Bluetooth controller. Not that there's anything wrong with the on-screen controls, obviously that all works fine, I just personally really don't like using them, so instead I will use, normally, a Bluetooth controller, but that all works absolutely fine. The other thing you've got here is stereo speakers, and for me, a single speaker just will not cut it anymore. It has to be stereo speakers, and this handset does have stereo speakers, so that's really good. The top speaker is kind of shared with the earpiece, and the sound you get coming out of that speaker has a little bit less bass. Let's put it that way. But it's stereo speakers, it works quite well, and the sound is fairly loud and it's clear, so it's all good. The next thing to talk about then is the camera. And it's okay. Let's just put it like that. The camera is okay. It's a camera, it takes photos and it shoots video. You've got a 50 megapixel main camera and an 8 megapixel ultra wide camera too. So it might look like there are loads of cameras here on the back of this phone, but really that's just a bit of clever design work. There are actually just 2 lenses. And I think if the conditions happen to be perfect, and I'm talking about good lighting and a still subject, something with no movement, then it's possible that you'll be able to take a half decent photo. And when it comes to video, the highest you can shoot is 1080p at 60 frames per second, so that's not bad. But nighttime video, well, when I tested this anyway, it didn't do too well, sadly. So I'm comparing the video here side by side with the iPhone 13, and that is just purely to give you an idea of the difference. And of course, there is a difference. Now, to some people, that's not going to be an issue. It just depends what you're shooting the video for. I mean, if you're shooting video for social media, if you're going to share it via WhatsApp perhaps, then the video from the POCO M4 Pro 5G will be fine. If you're trying to record precious family memories that you want to replay on a 4K TV, then of course you want to get the best quality you can if you're trying to keep those memories safe for many years to come, you know, then perhaps the camera isn't going to be doing a great job for that. But if, as I said, if it is just simply for sharing on social media or the quick snap here and there, absolutely fine. So a few other bits to talk about. Charging speed is great. You've got a 33 watt fast charger in the box, USB Type-C connection on the phone, and it takes about an hour to fully charge the 5000 milliamp hour battery. And when it's fully charged, it will last quite a while. So with all day use and many hours of screen on time, like just using this all day, it easily lasts a full day. You're going to have battery left at the end of the day, and that's just not the case with some smartphones. So battery life is definitely not an issue with the POCO M4 Pro 5G. It's the kind of smartphone you can carry around with you, and you're just not going to need to worry about the battery life. So after using it for about 4 weeks, I do think that's long enough now for me to have an understanding of how the phone performs and what it's like to use day to day. And I think as long as you don't rely heavily on the camera for amazing high quality shots every time, and as long as you don't want to play Fortnite, for example, then I think you'll enjoy using this. It's not a bad phone. It does also have 5G, of course, so if it's fast download speeds and stuff like that that's important to you, then it's got that. Also has an SD card slot for expandability, so if 128 gig is not enough, you can expand that further with the SD card. And it looks nice. You know, this is my kind of design, honestly. It looks more expensive than it actually is, but it does most things well. And whatever you're actually doing with this phone, it all looks nice on that big display as well, that 6.6 inch display. So that's it, guys, the very last video of 2021. I hope you enjoyed the video, or maybe you found it useful. If you did, please give it a thumbs up. And if you haven't already, do consider subscribing to the channel so that you don't miss my next video. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.